The power of measured speech, how restraint and intentional silence earn more respect than constant talking, to speak little and to say much. This is not a contradiction, it is a discipline, one that Stoics cultivated not for the sake of appearing wise, but to preserve their own inner order. Restraint in speech is not weakness, it is command over self, over impulse, and in time, over the room. Seneca said, "Speech that's restrained is better than speech that overflows." Yet today, we are surrounded by a culture that values reaction over reflection, noise over meaning. In meetings, on social media, at dinner tables, there's a compulsion to fill the silence. But the Stoic does not fear silence. He respects it because he knows that silence can say more than a torrent of unmeasured words. Consider this. Who do we instinctively listen to? The one who talks constantly, always eager to weigh in, or the one who waits, who listens carefully and speaks only when there is something necessary to be said? In practice, this looks like resisting the urge to speak just to be heard. It means not interrupting to make your point, but waiting until your words can actually carry weight. It means not responding to every insult, every opinion, every perceived challenge. If you're silent, Epictetus wrote, you'll rarely be forced to regret your words. If you speak, you'll often regret it. There is a quiet power in someone who pauses before speaking. In a courtroom, when a judge speaks slowly, deliberately, everyone listens. In a room full of arguing voices, the one who waits for silence before speaking commands attention. Not because they demand it, but because they deserve it. People instinctively respect restraint because it is rare, and rare things are valued. In a modern context, this principle applies everywhere, in leadership, in personal relationships, even in daily conversations. A manager who speaks only when needed will have more impact than one who's always asserting control. A partner who chooses the right words at the right time earns more trust than one who floods every moment with opinions. Even online, where the speed of response is often mistaken for intelligence, a person who takes time to think before they post will earn a reputation for clarity and integrity. Stoicism teaches that you should never let your tongue outrun your mind. Because once spoken, words cannot be retrieved. They may inflame, they may mislead, or they may simply reveal that you had nothing meaningful to say in the first place. The wise person would rather be silent and thought a fool than speak and confirm it. But this isn't about being timid, it's about being intentional. A Stoic doesn't hide behind silence. He uses it as a tool, as a boundary, as a statement of strength. When he speaks, he is not reacting, he is choosing, and in that choice lies power. So speak less, say more, and let your silence teach others how to listen. Truth without cruelty, how to speak honestly without indulging in arrogance or aggression. There is a kind of person who prides themselves on telling it like it is. They call it honesty. But too often it's just disguised hostility, truth delivered not with care, but as a weapon. The Stoic rejects this, not because he fears conflict or values comfort over clarity, but because he understands this. Truth is not less true when delivered with compassion, and cruelty does not make truth more pure. Truth without cruelty, how to speak honestly without indulging in arrogance or aggression. There is a kind of person who prides themselves on telling it like it is. They call it honesty. But too often, it's just disguised hostility. Truth delivered not with care, but as a weapon. The Stoic rejects this. Not because he fears conflict or values comfort over clarity, but because he understands this. Truth is not less true when delivered with compassion, and cruelty does not make truth more pure. Or humiliate, then you haven't spoken truth. You've committed violence with the excuse of clarity. In the modern world, we see this in how people give feedback, how they debate, how they end relationships. A manager calls an employee incompetent in front of others and claims it was just radical candor. A friend tells you a harsh truth about your behavior, but it drips with contempt, not care. A partner delivers an honest observation that seems aimed more at scoring a point than building understanding. A Stoic refuses to dress ego as principle. He chooses truth that uplifts, even when it wounds, but never one that belittles. If you must say something hard, strip it of arrogance. Let your words carry the weight of responsibility, not superiority. Seneca reminds us, nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart. Ubil. We might adapt this. Nothing is more respectable than a truthful voice that doesn't seek to wound. The Stoic does not sugarcoat, but he does not poison either. He tells the truth the way a good surgeon cuts, only as much as needed, only where it heals, and never for the thrill of the knife. So how do we apply this? When you disagree with someone, aim to understand before you respond. Ask questions before issuing judgments. Say less than you could, and more than you want to when the moment calls for it. Don't say something just because it's true. Say it because it's helpful, necessary, and timely. This is especially vital when emotions are high. Anger makes us confuse venting with honesty. But Epictetus taught that we must never speak in anger. Why? Because anger wants to be right, not true. It wants to dominate, not connect. And any truth it delivers is soaked in the poison of ego. So speak truth. But ask yourself before every word, will this leave them clearer or just more wounded? Will this reveal reality or just reveal my pride? Let your truth be like clean water, clear, necessary, and life-giving, not a flood that destroys. For in the end, people don't remember just what you said. They remember how you said it and why. Speech as a reflection of character, why the quality of your words is rooted in the quality of your soul. Words do not emerge from nowhere. They are not isolated from who we are. They flow up from the inner life, from beliefs, discipline, desires, fears. To speak is not merely to use the voice, it is to reveal the soul. A man may try to impress with polished language, with cleverness or charm, but if his spirit is weak or disordered, it will bleed through. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, and thoughts, when they mature, become words. If your thoughts are anxious, self-centered, chaotic, your speech will reflect that. If your mind is calm, principled, and directed toward the good, so will your voice be. This is why the Stoic doesn't focus first on eloquence, but on integrity. To speak well, you must first live well. We see this truth in everyday life. There's a difference between someone who says the right thing because they've practiced it, and someone who says the right thing because it's who they are. A customer service script can sound kind, but you can tell when it's mechanical. A leader can deliver a speech full of noble words, but if he treats his people poorly, the message is hollow. Words cannot mask character for long. Eventually, the mask slips. The Stoic approach flips modern communication advice on its head. It says, don't focus on sounding wise, be wise. Don't aim to persuade others before you've persuaded yourself. Don't try to win respect through language. Win it through your actions, your composure, your presence, then let your words arise naturally from that ground. Epictetus, who began life as a slave and became one of Stoicism's most respected voices, taught this relentlessly. He warned against philosophy as performance. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. The same is true for speech. Don't talk about virtue, let your tone carry it. Don't preach discipline, let your calm silence display it. Don't boast about honesty, let your words be clean and without manipulation. This doesn't mean we must always be quiet or reserved, but it means that when we speak, we must speak from alignment. If we value justice, our voice must carry fairness. If we claim to be courageous, we must not flatter or evade the truth when it's inconvenient. If we aspire to humility, Our words should not aim to impress. And when we fail, when our words reveal impatience, vanity, or cruelty, we must not defend them, we must reflect. For those slips are signs, not of bad speech, but of unsettled character. The Stoic sees these not as shameful, but as opportunities. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Simple, demanding, true. In the end, how you speak is not just about respect from others. It is about self-respect. You must live in the echo of your words. Make sure that echo is something you can live with. So work on the soul. The words will follow. Mastering emotions before speaking. The Stoic discipline of not letting anger or ego shape your voice. To speak under the rule of emotion is to gamble with your dignity. Anger, ego, envy, these are poor editors. When they take the reins, words become weapons, not instruments. And like all weapons, they can wound others. Yes, but they also expose the wielder. In moments of unchecked emotion, we often reveal the very parts of ourselves we least admire. The Stoic does not reject emotion. He respects it, but he does not let it govern his speech. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your anger is not someone else's fault. Your pride is not proof of your worth, and your reaction is never owed. It is always a choice. This is the Stoic's starting point. Speech must follow reflection, not impulse. When provoked, he pauses. When insulted, he does not respond immediately. When he feels the swell of ego, the desire to prove, correct, dominate, he resists the urge to indulge it with words. Why? Because words spoken in emotion are rarely remembered with pride. Think of your own life. How many times have you said something in anger, something sharp, clever, devastating, and later wished you could unsay it? Not because it wasn't accurate, but because it was unworthy. The truth delivered without control becomes poison. The Stoic knows this, and so he disciplines his tongue as one would discipline a blade, only to be drawn when absolutely necessary and always with intention. There is a common modern idea that if you don't say what you feel right away, you're being inauthentic. But Stoicism challenges that. It says that immediate emotional expression is not authenticity, it's indulgence. It's letting the self be ruled by a passing storm. True authenticity lies in aligning your words not with your momentary mood, but with your deeper principles. Epictetus taught, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings, then you will forget your anger." This doesn't mean we never confront or correct. It means that when we do it from clarity, not vengeance, from reason, not wrath. Because the goal is not to punish, but to uplift, even when being direct. In modern life, this is rare. Social media trains people to react instantly. Arguments spiral because no one pauses to breathe. In meetings, people interrupt out of insecurity. In relationships, pride keeps people from speaking with humility. The Stoic way, to pause, reflect, then respond, is not slow, it is precise. And over time, people begin to notice, this person is different. This person doesn't lash out, doesn't boast, doesn't gossip. When they speak, it's because they mean to, not because they've lost control. It takes strength to wait, to resist the emotional bait, to say, not yet, not like this. But that's the point. Stoicism isn't a technique for sounding wise. It's a path to becoming unshakable. So before you speak, ask, is this my soul speaking or my wound? Is this reason or reaction? And let that be your guide, not the fire in your chest. Listening as a form of powerful speech. How silence, when used wisely, can command greater respect than words. To speak with wisdom is to listen first. The Stoic does not rush to speak because he knows the world does not revolve around his opinion. He listens, not to respond, not to impress, but to understand. And in doing so, he commands more respect with his silence than others do with their speeches. Epictetus, in his teachings, reminds us of this essential truth. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This is not just clever symmetry. It's a philosophy. Listening, truly listening, requires humility, presence, and restraint. Qualities rare in a world obsessed with self-expression. But the Stoic is not in a hurry to speak because he understands the cost of poorly chosen words. He knows that many conversations are won not by force of argument, but by the strength of attention. To be heard is a universal desire. The one who grants that gift, without judgment, without interruption, without the need to insert himself, earns a quiet authority. There is something magnetic about a person who listens well. Think of the rare leader who pays full attention to those around them, who waits before answering, who pauses to think. Their silence does not weaken them, it deepens them. Others lean in when they finally speak because their voice has weight. Why? Because it was not thrown around casually. It was earned through restraint. Listening is not passive, it is active discipline. It requires you to master your ego, to resist the impulse to correct, to comment, to control the narrative. It means letting go of the need to be the center of attention. It means asking questions instead of offering advice. It means observing what is being said and what is being left unsaid. In today's world, silence is uncomfortable. People fill every pause with noise, fearing irrelevance. But the Stoic sits with silence. He lets it breathe, because silence is where truth gathers itself, and where respect is often born. A person who can sit in stillness without rushing to fill it signals something powerful, that they are not desperate to be seen, and thus they become more visible. In conversation, this means not rushing to defend yourself, not interrupting to prove a point, not offering solutions when someone just needs to speak. It means being present, even if you say little. It means holding your tongue until your words serve the moment, not your ego. Seneca said, "No man was ever wise by chance. Wisdom is earned, and it is often earned in silence, in listening when it would be easier to talk, in observing the world instead of reacting to it, in creating space for others, and thereby creating space for yourself to grow." So listen, with intention, with patience, with humility. Let your silence be a sanctuary for others. And when you do speak, your words will carry the gravity of everything you didn't say, avoiding the need for approval. How freeing yourself from the desire to impress strengthens your speech. To speak with truth, you must first be free, and no one is free who still seeks to be approved by everyone. The Stoic knows this well. He does not speak to impress. He speaks to express what is right, what is just, what is needed. If others are pleased, good. If they are offended by what is true, that is not his burden, so long as his words are clean, measured, and honest. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." In speech, this contradiction is everywhere. People contort their language, dilute their message, over-polish their voice, not out of clarity but out of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not sounding smart enough, agreeable enough, confident enough. But Stoicism is the art of stripping away what is unnecessary. And the need for approval is one of the heaviest weights a person can carry. It bends the spine, narrows the truth, and makes a person speak not with conviction, but with calculation. The Stoic seeks to reverse this. He asks, "Why am I saying this?" If the answer is to be liked, to seem clever, or to avoid being judged, then he knows his speech is not clean, it is not free, it is shaped by invisible chains. When your words are shaped by a need for applause, they lose their backbone. A leader who constantly adjusts their message to please the crowd becomes forgettable. A friend who only says what others want to hear becomes dispensable. A person who fears disapproval more than falsehood will never speak from the soul. In the modern world, this is even more insidious. Social media has trained people to craft every sentence with an invisible audience in mind, to post not what is sincere, but what will perform. Even in conversation, people subconsciously tailor their words to be safe, liked, retweeted in real life. But respect does not come from appeasement. It comes from steadiness. People admire those who speak what they believe, with calm, with integrity, without chasing reactions. You know it when you see it, someone who has no need to dominate, no desire to impress. And yet, their words land, because they come from someone who knows who they are. Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That is not a call to arrogance. It is a call to freedom, to let go of the approval that binds your tongue, to say what is needed even when it risks misunderstanding, to speak truth even when it comes dressed in simplicity, not charm. This doesn't mean being provocative, it means being anchored. Speak plainly, not performatively. Say what you mean, not what you think will gain the most nods. Let your words rise from clarity, not calculation. And then you'll notice something strange. When you no longer seek respect through performance, people begin to respect you more. Not because you chased it, but because you didn't.